Hello, my name is Milton Humison, and I am assisting Dr. Edwin Hubble in figuring out the relationship between distance and redshift of galaxies. What were we trying to do? Well, Dr. Hubble had previously discovered that objects known as nebulae were in fact galaxies outside of the Milky Way by observing these things called Cepheid variables, which are a type of star that is used to calculate distance from the galaxy, and he concluded that the universe is actually made up of many galaxies because of this. We are currently trying to find a relationship between the distance and the amount of redshift we observe from a galaxy. From our current research, we are seeing a rough linear relationship between the two, but we still have much more research to conduct before we prove that theory. Our projects and experiments were mostly conducted and observed at the Mount Wilson Observatory and the Carnegie Institution of Washington. What are my opinions on the events happening currently? Well, dial telephones are kind of a big thing right now. It's greatly improved the communication system we have because now you don't have to send a letter to meet up with somebody. Unfortunately, we've lost our president, President Theodore Roosevelt. He unfortunately died in his sleep at the age of 60. Boston's going through a tough time right now because I heard that 21 people died and 150 were injured when a storage tank exploded. I'm not a huge fan of the 18th Amendment authorizing prohibition. And as for Russia being revolutionized into a communist country, well, I don't know how to feel about that. As for who else was involved in this project, the project mostly was conducted by Dr. Hubble and myself. However, we used measurements of redshifts by a man known as Vesto Slipher in our own research, in finding our own also. My role in the project mostly was to take measurements of galaxy distances and redshifts in those galaxies for Dr. Hubble. I would say the impact we had on the physics community was that we proved that the universe expands beyond the Milky Way galaxy, and then we proved that there is a relationship between distance and redshift observed. As for my educational background, a lot of you may not believe this, but I do not have a formal education. I never finished high school. I don't even have a PhD. I actually worked as a janitor at the observatory where the research and observations were conducted before I volunteered to be a night assistant. From there, I was responsible for making observations and doing calculations on distance for the redshifts for Dr. Hubble himself.